In today's episode, I'm going to be going over finding messages in a little bit more detail. And we're also going to be doing a little bit of time traveling to find a message from your older, wiser self. That should be interesting. And I'm going to be doing a review on a fabulous deck called the Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle Card Deck by Kelly Smith. And actually choosing to use that deck to find the message for you. So remember to be aware of how you're feeling and what you're doing when you're finding that message. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record after a while, but it's really important. So you don't want to be scared or anxious about what you're going to be asking. You don't want to be having your eyes moving all over the place. You're not on holiday. You're not sightseeing. You're not going, oh, Leaning Tower of Pisa. You want your eyes to be in a downward, very neutral position. So to give you, for instance, I was at a friend's house the other day and I was giving him a balance and I was actually muscle testing as opposed to doing self-muscle testing. And I noticed that he was testing strong for everything that I was asking. So for the negative statements, he was testing strong. For the positive statements, he was testing strong. I thought something's going on here. So then I noticed something. He was actually looking at me out of the corner of his eye because I was writing notes at the time. And I said, what are you looking at? And he said, I want to see what you're writing. And I said, but you're supposed to be looking down in a neutral position. So then told him off, told him to look down, remuscle tested him, and the tests were more in line with what I thought was going to happen. Testing strong to a positive statement, testing weak to a negative statement. So where your eyes are looking is really, really important. Also, if you're looking elsewhere, you are going to have what's called conscious bias. So by that, I mean, you could be looking at all your decks of oracle cards and everyone has their favorites. I certainly do. And you're going to be looking at your favorite and thinking, oh, I hope my message comes from that particular deck. Or looking at your bookcase and going, I hope the message comes from that book, that the words in that book are incredibly powerful. I want my message to come from there. You are creating conscious bias where you are focusing, even if you're not doing it really, really consciously, but your mind is focused on those specific things that you want to happen. This is also really important for anyone using a pendulum because that can really be affected by conscious bias. When you are getting your message, you are connecting to source. You are connecting to the power that created everything. That energy knows exactly what message you are supposed to get. And it's going to guide you, and you just have to have faith in that. Sometimes the most profound messages I have ever received have come from decks that are really my least favorite, to the point where they're sitting on the bottom shelf and I would never consciously choose them to find a message. But for that question, for that issue that I'm finding the message for, that most powerful message is going to be coming from a deck where you least expect it. So just have faith and allow those messages to come from where they're meant to come from and not where you want them to come from. Also, it's important to understand that when you're asking the question, you don't actually have to verbalize that. You can say it silently in your head. Works just the same way. So you can find a message or you can ask your subconscious questions when you're in a crowded room. Nobody knows what you're doing. Nobody knows what you're asking. You can just do it silently. And you can also find a message in a language you do not understand. And I have a surprise for you because in a future episode, we are actually going to test that. And we're going to find a message in a language that I'm very bad at. And we're going to find that there is no barrier between languages. That source energy that is guiding you knows exactly where that message is. And it doesn't matter if you don't understand it. There's always Google Translate, right? So you can just take a picture of that paragraph in that book in a different language and that will be your message. That's kind of fun. So we're going to have that in an upcoming episode. Okay, so back to finding your message. So we want to make this easy. I know sometimes we can all have that belief that if it's really difficult, then it's more powerful. And I know I've suffered from that belief for many years, but in actual fact, it can be really, really easy. And it depends on the statements that you make when you're finding the message. You want to make it easy for yourself. So the statement I often use is, my message can most easily be found. So in a deck of oracle cards, in a book, or in my office somewhere. So be aware of how you're asking the questions, or should I say statements, and make it easy. So, for instance, you have been practicing your self-muscle testing or using your pendulum, and the issue that you have that you want an answer to, you have found that that message for that issue is going to be found in a book. So it could be one book that's sitting on your desk, super easy. You go to that book, or the book could be in a bookcase. So you're looking at the bookcase and you go, oh, how on earth am I going to find a message? Well, first of all, you're going to eliminate where the book isn't. So if your bookcase has 3 shelves, my message is in the first shelf. No, second shelf, third shelf. And you're just going to keep muscle testing until you find a yes. So maybe that second shelf has 20 books. So again, you're going to narrow it down. So what I do is often get a ruler and just slide the ruler in between 2 books, which are about halfway. My message can most easily be found on the left-hand side. No, on the right-hand side. Yes. Or the other way around. So then you've narrowed it down. So maybe you've got 20 books left. So maybe the message is on the left-hand side and there's 20 books. Okay. So then divide it up again. Just get a Post-it note and just identify the middle. My message can most easily be found on the left-hand side, right-hand side. You just do it again. And you can narrow it down to maybe 10 books. So then you've got the 10 books and you know your message is somewhere in one of those books. So then I ask, my message can most easily be found by counting from left to right. And if that's a no, my message can most easily be found by counting right to left. And then if the book can most easily be found from counting right to left, and you're counting left to right, then you're just making it harder. You're just taking more time, because you're going to go, message can be most easily found in book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, until you find it. So just make it easy on yourself. And voila, you find your book. And you go to the back of the book and you find out how many pages there are. And then again, you do exactly the same thing. You divide them up. My message is in the first half of the book. If that's a no, you don't actually have to repeat the whole statement. It's, my message is in the first half of the book. No, the second half of the book. Yes. So your subconscious knows what you're referring to, and you're going to narrow it down to the page. So you've got, okay, so my message is between page 50 and 100. Then my message is in pages 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and so on. And the more you do it, the quicker you become. And this process actually can be done really, really quickly. And then you're going to find the page. First thing I often ask, especially if I'm doing this with an oracle card deck, I will ask, the message is the whole message, or my message is found in the whole message. Because there's some oracle card decks where the message is just 1 page or 2 pages. You might be being shown that you have to read the whole message, because there's parts or elements of that whole message that you need to read and inwardly digest. So if it's not in the whole message, then it's in the first page or the second page. When you found the page, then you divide it up into the paragraphs. So you find out how many paragraphs there are. Messages to be found in the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, and so on. Now, if you find the message is in the second paragraph, you don't stop there. You are then going to ask if it's in the next paragraph, because your message could be in two paragraphs. So once you get a yes, so my message is to be found in the second paragraph. Yes, don't stop. My message is to be found also in the third paragraph. You keep going until you get a no, because the message could be in 3 consecutive paragraphs. So you need to be able to read that. So there's information in all those areas that you need to read and inwardly absorb. So what do you do when you get a message and you really don't understand it? Some can be a little cryptic. Sometimes a couple of days in the future, you'll look back and go, oh, now I understand that message. But in that precise moment when you get the message, it's difficult to understand. Okay, so first of all, you always set the intention before you get a message that it's going to be simple, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be easy to understand. But what if you hadn't set that intention and you're looking at that message and you don't really understand what that message is trying to tell you? You find another message. You don't discard that message. Your intention is to find another message that is going to explain that first message in a more easy way. So you're not going to say, I don't understand that, I'm putting it back, I'm going to ask the question again. We don't go that route. So now you've got that message. You're a little confused. So what's the first thing you do? You muscle test. Reading the whole message will allow me to understand this message more easily. So by whole message, I mean, if you've got a message from an oracle card deck, reading that whole message, reading the whole page or all of the pages of that message, it is doing that going to give you a little more context around that specific message. And usually that's going to be all you need to do. So first of all, reading the whole message will help me better understand this message. So in other words, this specific paragraph. Usually that's all you need to do. If it's no to that, so if you muscle test, no, by reading the whole message is not going to help me, then you ask, finding another message will help me better understand this message. So remember, your first message is your first message. That is where you're being led to. Trust in that process. Trust where these messages are coming from. Don't discard them. But what you're wanting to do is, it's like being in university and your professor's giving you some notes and you don't understand. You get to ask the professor, like, can you explain that a little more easily to me? So I'll give you, for instance, I was finding a message for a friend, and the message was in a book, and the message was just the words, look behind you. Neither of us knew what those words meant, but incredibly powerful, look behind you. So we asked, is there another message that will better describe that message? And the message was in a past life oracle card deck, and the message was about the past life issue. And the second message was incredibly powerful, and all of a sudden we understood. But then we understood what the words look behind you meant. Like, look in the past, look in a past life. This is where the issue is. So it was really, really interesting. But then finding that second message also gave us a far more expansive amount of information regarding that past life, regarding that issue that my friend was needing to work through. So just practice. Practice with your muscle testing, practice with your pendulum, practice with your intuition. Eyes open, but gazing down, always looking in a neutral position, staying centered, and believing that these messages are coming from divine source and are guiding you to that information that you need to find, regarding that question or situation that you need the message for. And just believe in yourself. You can do this. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of practice. Okay, it's review time. And this is a fabulous deck, Intuitive Life Coaching Oracle by Kelly T. Smith. There's a lot of information in this deck. There's 77 cards in this Oracle card deck. So regarding life coaching, it's like having a little professor in a box where you get to have this sage advice regarding that question that you're asking. So I had a look on Kelly's website, and on there she explains, and these words really resonated, that she is here to help to introduce you to the one person that is going to help you through life's challenges. And that one person is you. You have the opportunity to ask any number of people advice. You get to take courses, you get to go to practitioners. But at the end of the day, you are the one that needs to do the healing on yourself. So you get to ask yourself these questions. And you are the one that gets to create this positive change, this positive transformation in your life. And this is where this deck comes in, because it gives fabulous advice in a really kind, gentle way. It takes you by the hand and it gently guides you to give you wise counsel about that issue that you're dealing with. And this actually beautifully aligns with what we're going to do at the end of this episode, is doing a little bit of time traveling and getting to ask the future you what advice that you can give your present you, so that you can actually make that powerful transition, that powerful change in your life. So let me give you a little bit more information about the author, Kelly Smith. She is a mind, body, and wellness practitioner. She is certified in life coaching, hypnotherapy, as well as NLP and holistic nutrition. She's a past life regression therapist, works with homeopathic remedies and essential oils. But if you want to know a little bit about her, probably best thing to do, have a look at her website at intuitivelifecoachingwithkelly.com. So with all those qualifications and background, she is well qualified to give advice on life coaching. So if you have an issue where you're really needing a helping hand, a perfect oracle card deck to consult to find your message. So a little bit more about the deck. Super nice quality, laminated cards. What I would say about the cards is that they are large. And there's 77 of them. Shuffling this way can be a challenge. Now, I've got really big hands. So I would advise, if you're going to struggle with holding this size of cards, just hold them upright like this and shuffle this way. It's a little bit easier. You're not having to really stretch your hand to hold these decks, to hold the cards without dropping all of them. That would be a long message. So one thing I absolutely love about this deck is the overarching message is that every challenge and every setback you go through actually has a gift. And what amazing wisdom you get to find when you understand that everything that you're going through is actually a gift. It's that wisdom in the wound. And then you come out of victim mentality and you get to be able to understand why things happen to you. And that's when you get to change things. So remember the statement, things or life happens for you, not to you. So if something bad happens, it's, why is this happening? What can I take from this information and how can I create change around that? So let's have a look at the cards. The only one thing that I would say about the cards is that the images aren't amazing. They're all abstract. I mean, really colorful, nice images, but based on some of the subject matter, I feel that the images could have been so much more. But in saying that, when I choose an oracle card deck, I'm choosing it for the messages. I'm choosing it for the words because it's the words that are the powerful thing. They are the transformational thing in an oracle card deck. If you find an oracle card deck that has powerful messages and amazing artwork, then that's just the cherry on the cake. So I'm going to focus on the good, that the writing in this book are amazing. The messages are amazing. So don't expect amazing artwork. It's pretty, it's colorful, and just focus on the actual message, on the writing that's contained in the book. So let's have a look at some of the messages. And I'm going to shuffle the cards, but I'm just going to find out which card comes out first. So always in the past, we've set the intention to find a message for a specific thing. But I just want to shuffle these at random. And I want the most important message to share with you so that you can see the power in these words. So let's go ahead. And I'm just going to shuffle these, and you can see which one jumps up first. Oops. Okay, I think that's the one. It's quite lively, actually. Okay, so let me go to the book. Now, the card is number 13, and it's a judgment. So I'm just going to read this part of this message to you so you can really absorb all the words of this message. You are being asked to let go of all judgments and forgive those who judge you. You need not worry about others' judgments if you are currently experiencing judgment or criticism directed at you. You are being asked to let it go. Do not hold on or allow these judgments to define you. When someone is pointing a finger, it is because on a subconscious level, they are judging themselves. For whatever reason, something you said or did triggered their insecurities. This is not your fault, and it is in your best interest to ignore the criticisms, forgive them, and move on. Do not get stuck in the endless cycle of trying to please someone who refuses to look within him or herself. At the same time, you are being asked to release your judgments of others and look within whatever those judgments may arise. All judgments are ultimately self-judgments. Now, there's more information, but I'm just going to read that to you. Now, it's wonderful because at the end of every message, there is intuitive life coaching questions. So again, you get to sit with yourself and contemplate. So for this one, the question is, do you feel judged or criticized by others around you? How are you letting their judgments and criticisms affect you? How are your judgments of others related to your own self-judgment? Can you take a step back to examine the ways in which you may be ignoring your own wants, needs, and past pains? So there's always that extra information that you can sit and ponder and create that transformation around. Okay, let us find another message. So this time, I'm just going to cut the cards. So remember, I believe that the most important message to share with you, there we go. I'm just going to cut the cards. And let's just find that in the book. Okay. And it's card number 56, and the name is Mirror. Everything that is happening in your external life is a reflection of your inner world. All of the answers that you are currently seeking are within you. Your outer world and experiences are merely reflections of your inner world. To change your situation, you have to work from the inside out. Many of us try to change our circumstances by working harder to change our outer world. But true change can only happen when you change the energy you are sending out. If you are in turmoil within, your life without will be in turmoil. If you do not like yourself, you will most likely meet a lot of people that do not like you either. If you feel like you are not good enough, you will most likely know a lot of people who make you feel like you are not good enough. Change your world from within, and you will change the outer world as well. Incredibly important information to share with everyone. And your intuitive life coaching question: what challenging situations are currently mirroring back your internal challenges and feelings? Do these reflections resonate with you? Are they revealing and insightful? What inner work do you need to do to change your outer world? So those are just to give you a little bit of an essence of the messages that you get in this Oracle card deck. So all are kindly, gently stated, but really giving you some powerful, insightful information that you can ponder. So before I find the message for all of you, and I'm going to be using this same Oracle card deck to find the message for you, think about if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self. What advice would you give your younger self? And most often when I ask people this, they'll say, oh, I wish I could tell my 20-year-old self to be more courageous, or just believe in yourself more, or, everything is going to be okay. Stop worrying. And that's great. And it's really interesting. But is it going to do you any good? Because you can't go back in time and change everything. You are now who you are. And you just wished you could have told your younger self. But what would you say if I told you we could go forward in time and we could connect with the wiser version of yourself, the older version of yourself? And through using Oracle card decks or through messages from books or wherever they may be, you can ask your older, wiser self, what advice would you give my present day self? That information you could do something about. So that's what our message is going to be, is we are going to go forward in time. So practice with this, do this yourself. But remember, your intention is incredibly powerful. You don't want to just set the intention is to get a message from your future self. Your future self could be yourself next week. Now, unless you're going through an amazing course where you're going to find all this information, your future self next week isn't really going to be the right person that you want to connect with. You want to connect with your much older, much wiser self that has all that life experience, all that life's knowledge that future self is going to want to share with you now. So that's what we're going to do. So remember, intention is very important. We're going to go years in the future to that old you, that one with gray hair and wrinkles, who has been through life and knows exactly what they want to teach you. Okay. So we've already shuffled this deck of Oracle cards to find the two previous messages. So now I'm going to just use self-muscle testing to find the message for the audience from the older, wiser version of the audience. So years into the future. So we set the intention that this advice is something that we can use now, that we can make that transformation in our lives now. Okay, so I'm going to be looking down. Okay. This message from the older, wiser self has a message in this oracle card deck? Yes. This message is most easily found in the first half of the deck, the second half of the deck. Okay, so it's in the second half of the deck, 77 cards. So I'm just going to count from 35 onwards. You don't have to be exact with the numbers. And math was never my strongest suit, so we're just going to ballpark it. The message can most easily be found in cards 35 to 40. No. 40 to 50. Yes. 40 to 45. No. 45 to 50. Yes. So again, we're narrowing it down. The message can most easily be found in card 45, 46, 47, 48. So it's in card 48. I'm just going to go to the book and I'm going to find card 48. Okay, so I'm going to ask. The message is in the whole message. The message is in the first page, the second page, the whole of the first page. So, see what I did? Narrowed it down. First of all, it's not in the whole message. It's in the first page, but it's in the whole of the first page. So, this message is card number 48, and it's unwavering faith. You are being asked to have faith in the unseen. This card comes to you today to remind you to pay attention to what you believe in. If you believe that things will unfold in the worst way possible, your faith is focused on the wrong thing. When you experience challenges in your life, we tend to focus mostly on the worst case scenario. But putting all your energy into the worst case scenario is the shadow side of faith. Faith is the acceptance that you will have no control over something and then allowing it to unfold as it will. Faith is to also believe in a higher power. Remember that it is your faith in the perfect outcome, the best outcome possible, that will cause you to wish to unfold in divine timing. Anytime you find your faith wavering, hold a picture of the perfect outcome in your mind's eye. Ask your angels and guides to reveal to you the perfect action to take, and then move forward fiercely with a complete knowing that it is already done. And I think with our intention to ask your future wiser self for some sage advice that you can actually act upon and do something with, that is a perfect message. So just to give you a heads up, I read the whole message on that page, but I also went over to the next page to finish that paragraph. And again, you can muscle test whether you need to, but I just felt intuitively that I needed to read all of that to you. So that is your message from your future self, to have unwavering faith and to believe in yourself. It's a pretty good message to get. So I have a little surprise for you for the whole of October. October begins something extraordinary. For 31 days, we'll journey through the lost traditions of Samhain, the ancient festival that became Halloween. You'll discover why your ancestors set places at their tables for the dead, why they left windows open on the coldest October nights. Every plastic skeleton, every jack-o'-lantern, every trick-or-treater is an echo of something real, something powerful. Now you'll finally understand why. The veil is about to thin. The ancestors are preparing to return. And you're about to remember what Samhain really means. 31 days of ancient wisdom. The Samhain sessions begins here, October 1st. Are you ready to remember? Don't listen alone. The ancestors certainly won't be. So every day of October, I will be putting out a short podcast all about Samhain, all about the origins of the traditions of Halloween that we know today, and also be sharing a message with that day's theme. So I hope to see you in October for 31 days of Samhain. And I'll leave you to ponder this. Do you have faith in yourself? Until next time, notice the messages in every moment.